Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into an incredible story about how one guy totally transformed his financial life, and he did it with a habit so tiny it seems almost useless. It all started with this one thought that just wouldn't leave him alone.
Yeah, this was the thought that was just eating away at Jean, a 37-year-old Mason over in Paris. I mean, here's a guy working his tail off every single day, but he felt completely and utterly trapped. You know that feeling? Like you're watching your life just tick by with nothing, absolutely nothing to show for it. It's something a lot of us, I think, can relate to.
So, okay, how bad was it really? Let's actually dig into the financial hole Jean was in, because when you see just how deep it was, well, it makes what he did next even more incredible.
All right, first up, his rent, $500 a week. Think about that. That's $2,000 a month just for an attic room. That right there was this massive weight on his shoulders, eating up a huge chunk of his money before he could even think about, anything else.
And this number, wow, this was one of those really painful aha moments. When Jean finally sat down and actually did the math, he was just floored. He'd paid out $72,000 in just 3 years. A fortune, all for a place he would never ever own. He was on a treadmill, just running and going nowhere.
And as if that wasn't enough, on top of all that, there was the debt. A loan from family for bills and a car repair. It started at $5,000, but it quickly ballooned to $8,000. The stress, you can imagine, was just immense. He started dodging calls from his brother-in-law, skipping family get-togethers. It was really, really taking a personal toll.
But then came the turning point. It happened during a simple conversation with his colleague, Michelle, there on the construction site. She brought up an idea that honestly sounded almost laughably small, almost pointless. So Michelle just pulls out her phone and shows him this super simple calculation. Just $20 a day for 10 years adds up to $73,000. And Jean, his first reaction was to just laugh it off. $20? What's that gonna do? But that big number at the end, that number stuck with him. It was almost the exact same amount he'd thrown away on rent. So, inspired, Jean decided, what the heck, I'll give it a try. He grabbed a plain old paper envelope, wrote 1% daily right on it, and made a promise to himself. The rule was dead simple. The very first thing he would do, the second he got paid, was put $20 in that envelope. No excuses. He was finally paying himself first. Okay, so making a rule is one thing, right? But actually sticking to it when life inevitably happens, well, that's the real test. And for Jean, that test came almost immediately. Get this, his pay was late, his wife needed money for food, and the temptation to just rip open that envelope was huge. But he didn't do it. He refused. And in that moment, he had this incredibly powerful realization. This money, it wasn't a bandage for emergencies. It was a thing that would stop the emergencies from ever happening in the first place. So he started making these tiny little sacrifices, drinking tap water instead of grabbing a soda. He got creative, borrowing a few bucks from a neighbor for medicine and paying it back right away. He even sold an old tool to get money for food when his pay was late. And every single time he protected that envelope, his discipline, his resolve, it just got stronger. And you know what? These small, consistent actions, they didn't stay small for very long. They started to build on each other, one on top of the other, creating this real, tangible momentum that, well, it started to change absolutely everything. Just look at this. After only 4 months of putting away that $20 a day, he paid back a huge chunk of his debt. His brother-in-law was completely stunned. Then he did something smart. He joined what's called a consortium. It's kind of like a savings club where everyone pools their money. And because of his discipline, that leveraged him a $5,000 payout. All of a sudden, boom, he had over $6,000. And believe me, it didn't stop there. What started as his own little solo project, it turned into a full-on family mission. He upped his savings to $30 a day. Then his wife, Marianne, started adding $10 of her own. And then Jean started working Saturdays too. All of it, every penny, was fueling that one single goal. So now, with their combined efforts, Jean and Marianne took this thing that once felt totally, completely impossible, the dream of actually owning their own property, and they started to build it into a physical reality. Literally, brick by brick. What's really wild is just how fast this all happened. I mean, think about it. He goes from being $8,000 in debt to putting a down payment on a plot of land in just 1 year. Within 3 years, he owns that land, free and clear. And just a couple of years after that, he's a debt-free homeowner with his own van for his business and money in a savings account. Just wow.
You see, Gene's story is so much more than just building a house. It's really about building a completely new mindset. It's about creating a legacy, a sense of financial empowerment that he could then pass on to his kids.
Just look at the change. He went from feeling trapped, just trying to survive day to day, to feeling totally empowered and focused on building a real future. He literally transformed himself from a renter who was drowning in debt into a homeowner and an investor. So now, fast forward a few years, he's trying to teach this exact same lesson to his 17-year-old son. And what do you know? He gets hit with the exact same skepticism that he felt all those years ago. It's just a perfect full circle moment, isn't it?
But this time, Gene has the answer. He's got the lived experience. He has the wisdom to explain what that long-term consistency really means. He can actually prove that those small amounts, over time, they become big, life-changing amounts.
And their success wasn't about some magic bullet, you know? It came from a bunch of different streams of disciplined saving, all flowing into one single goal. You had the daily envelope, the consortiums, that extra work on Saturdays, his wife's contributions. It was all of it working together.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's actually pretty simple. This wasn't a lottery win. It wasn't some lucky break. It was the relentless, unstoppable power of making one small, good choice and then repeating it, day after day after day. And that really leaves us with a question for our own lives, doesn't it? We all have those goals that feel impossible, too big, too far away. But what if the key isn't some giant leap? What if it's just one single, consistent step? It really makes you wonder, what impossible goal could your 1% unlock?